Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to take you through some of my non-objective paintings. I've had quite a few of you ask me in the comments, why do I add realism to the mix? I know a lot of you like non-objective art. All of my art starts that way, but some of them I keep that way, and I wanted to show you just a few of these today that I've been working on over the last few months, and some are new, some are a little older. But I wanted to do a brief overview just to show you what I've done non-objectively, which is without representation at all. And these are all intuitive. Some include acrylic and ink, while others have collage. Some combine quite a bit, but there's a lot of mixed media in these pieces. So I'm just going to go and show you some of my thought processes are in making images such as these. Okay, I'm just going to show you some of the things that I think about when I make work. These are all the different principles of design I use. As I've said before in previous videos, I'm an AP Studio Art teacher, so my students know these, we practice these, and I'll talk about these as we go through the video. Okay, if you've been watching some of my videos, you realize that I start with a lot of different techniques. A lot of times I use a bottle or a plastic jar to kind of smear the paint. Today I'm just going to show you some of my brushwork. And what I'm going to cover on this part, I did these a little bit before I started the video. And these are done with acrylic and with acrylic ink. And I'm bringing some very watered down acrylic into the mix right here. And this is an example of transparency versus opacity. I'm trying to make it see-through with the paint, and while that's still wet, I'm going to bring in some acrylic ink. And if you haven't used acrylic ink before, it's just absolutely brilliant. It's one of my favorite mediums. It really goes well with acrylic paint, and most of the paintings in this video use those two mediums. I'm also employing contrasting colors. On the one on the left, I started with the blue, one on the right with more warm colors, but I'm adding cool colors to it. So that's a great example of contrasting. And the more you can use or understand color, the more intuitively with abstraction and non-objective painting you will be at. So now I'm going to bring in some more acrylic ink. Just going to let that drop. A lot of times this acrylic ink will bleed out into the rest of it as the wetness allows that. Through my work of being a teacher, I often watch students work in abstraction. And once again, I don't really differentiate abstraction with realism. Every work for me starts off abstract. And I think beginners in art realize that very quickly. But the magic of just laying down color and letting it bleed, letting things intersperse within different droplets, that really turns on a beginning artist. And I see that with my students all the time. It's a great way to kind of unplug from our modern world and go back into some analog instead of just digital. But it's a great way to learn about color and learn about how to make a painting. With this piece, I am working with contrasting colors again, working with cools and warm colors, letting the cool color go over top of the warm that I already established. But also, I'm thinking about hierarchy here because this big shape I'm making, I want that to kind of lead the eye into the image. I've talked a lot about unity variety also in past videos, but it kind of leads into hierarchy, where how can you make the eye of the viewer go through the picture the way you want them to look at it. And variety is a great way to do that. If everything's the same size, same color, it gets very static. So that's one of the parts about abstraction for me that I think about, is how can I have enough variance to bring the viewer's eye and read and flow through the painting. Here's another piece I just started yesterday, and a lot of it is dried, and now I'm able to work back into it. But right now I'm kind of sharpening up edges. This is going to make certain elements of the design contrast. These last two images I've been working on, they took a while to dry. I put down heavy ink along with acrylic, and it took quite a bit of time for them to dry. And I think I basically gave it time overnight, so when I woke up this morning, I was able to go back into the picture immediately. I think there's a lot to be said for people when they see an image that looks unfinished. But a lot of times, even though it's unfinished, a lot of people will say, don't do anything else to the image, don't ruin it. And I think all of us think about that at times with all of our art pieces. But I think abstraction is a little like that, where you need to know where to stop or where to continue pushing it. And so I'm going around these shapes that I've made, and I'm bringing the purple in there to kind of contrast with the yellow I've already got. With non-objective, I'll go into certain areas and bring other little marks in like this with an acrylic marker. And once again, it gives a little bit of variety. I'm always trying to balance out the image, some smooth, some hard edge, some soft, some transparency, as I work away my way around the image. With both these images I'm going back and forth between, I'm trying to get some kind of rhythmic flow to it. So, the lines, the curved lines, hopefully lends itself to that. But rhythm is a big part of what I try to achieve in most of my works as well. Another great thing about working non-objectively is that sometimes I don't have paintings that work immediately. I set it aside. I might even let it sit there for almost a year. And I'll see something else in it when I go back to look, and I may cover up something here, maybe water something down there, maybe bring some collage into it, and it almost always succeeds. That's the great thing about abstraction and non-objective. It's very forgiving, and a lot of times some of your mistakes, so-called mistakes, can actually lead to something even better. And that's what I'm always trying to do. So hopefully if you have something that's not working for you, maybe let it sit for a while. Go back to it, maybe turn it upside down, see if you can find another angle into it with shapes and colors and lines. And I found that to be fairly successful. If you liked the video today, please subscribe, hit the like button, and please leave me comments. Your comments have led me to make this video today. So here's where I'm at right now. I'm not done, but once again, as you've seen in other videos, I try to kind of leave them maybe 3/4 finished so you can see where I'm at. And I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit to let you take a look at some of the bleeding, the textures, and the line work. And I really like that section down at the bottom here on that one. Over here, the textures are really coming together fairly nicely for me. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.